What's up, guys? So in this video, we're going to be setting up an I2P server. Don't run away or freak out or think like this is way over my head. It's definitely not, and it's free, for at least the first 2 months. We're going to be using a service called DigitalOcean. Now, DigitalOcean didn't sponsor this video or anything like that. It's just from, what I've seen, it's the best service to go with for this particular project that we'll be doing. Now, like I said, it's free for the first 2 months. In order to set up an account, you will have to enter in a credit card, but it's going to be free for the first 2 months. And then after that, it'll be $5 a month. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up an I2P server that's remote. So what's cool about that is at the end of the day, we can support the I2P network with, settings basically maxed out. And it does not affect our computer, or in this case, my computer. It does not affect our bandwidth on our internet. It doesn't affect any of that because it's something completely isolated away from our network on a completely different network. And there's people who are like, well, why can't I just run this on my computer? You absolutely can. And, we can do that. You can set up a virtual box. You can do it like that. I'm more or less doing this to show people like at the end of the day, it's not super hard to set up, I2P on a Linux box. And, even if it's just a support the network and to set it up and walk away. So I'm in Vermont. I'm going to be setting mine up in New York, and I don't have to leave this chair. Like it's super straightforward. Like don't get overwhelmed. At the end of the day, all we're doing is typing in certain things at certain times, and you don't even have to type it in. You can literally just copy and paste it because all the commands as we go are going to be in the description. And for me, like $5 a month in order to be able to support the I2P network really wasn't much. I run, a node or whatever you want to call it, for the I2P network. I keep I2P running constantly on this machine, and, to support the network. In addition to that, I also have this other server. And I know people who have set up, 4 or 5 of these servers, which I absolutely intend to do in the future. I'd like to hook up with a CPA and see like if it's possible to write it off, as a charitable donation or something, But these are great because it's set it and forget it. We're going to set it up and then we're going to walk away. And, that's it. We don't really have to do anything else. We'll come back every couple months maybe and update it, or when we hear about an update, just update it. Very simple, very straightforward. Anyone can do it. And I've been really excited to get this video out to you guys to show you guys how to set this up. So without further ado, let's get to it. So here we are at DigitalOcean. We're going to go create a new project. We're going to put in the name of our project. It's going to be I2P router, and then we'll put in a short description. And the purpose, really doesn't matter. We'll just put trying out. It's irrelevant, really. At the end of the day, skip that. I'm going to go up here to create. I'm going to create a droplet. It's going to be our first option. And see New York, San Francisco, Toronto, Sydney, everywhere. We can create a server anywhere we want. I'm going to be doing one in New York just because it's close. So you select the data center closest to you for your users. Doesn't really matter because we're running an anonymity network, so who cares? It doesn't really matter where we set it. So you set up Debian. We see like our other options down here. Where right now we have premium Intel selected. We definitely don't need premium Intel. So we're just going to select regular. And the $4 a month actually isn't available. That sucks. So we're going to go with the 6. I guess the 6 is better anyways. When you set this up, you're going to want to do SSH keys. If you can, it's like 3 or 4 commands. You can Google it. I'm just doing a password because it's super simple. That's, we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. So, all right, that's it. We're going to create the droplet now. And we see, it's jetting up there. It's almost done creating it right now. And once this is created, that's our server. So then we'll be able to hop into it and actually start doing stuff inside of it. But this is it. I mean, it's really, really straightforward. It's not complicated. It's not, super hard. We're not I don't have to become elite coders to be able to do this stuff, which is awesome because I'm not, I'm going to click these 3 dots and then we're going to go access console and launch droplet console. And then we have this little pop up here, and this is going to give us root access to the server, which is awesome. There's no cPanel, none of that crap, that you see on a lot of other hosters. And that's one of the reasons why I go with DigitalOcean. Again, not an ad, they're not sponsoring me. So first thing we got to do is we got to update. So we're going to do apt update and apt upgrade -y. The -y just tells it, yes. If we don't put that in, it's going to say, hey, you sure you want to update these things? Yeah, we're sure we want to update those things. So just, go ahead and do it and stop asking us questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep the local version. I'm not, not trying to reinvent the wheel. And I'm sure there's people out there that are watching this that are actually 10 times more qualified to be making this video. They just don't want to make videos. So if you guys don't, we're going to add a user, add I2P. We're going to create a password, and then we'll type it back in. But if we do have people out there who, are like, hey, man, you could have done these 15 things different. Definitely drop it in the description and let me know, because I'd like to know what I can work on better and what we can do better. So I just put a bunch of BS in here for now just to get it done. Now we're going to go and we're going to edit the permissions for the user that we created, which is called I2P. And basically what we're going to do for now is we're going to, give it root permissions. We're going to let it do everything. Just like, so we can get stuff done, and then we'll come back in here afterwards and we'll change that back. So now we're going to change the password of the root user. So just, I was going to try pronouncing the word password, but then I realized if I actually say password to you guys, some people will type in password root to change the password, and that's not how they do it. So I figured I just wouldn't say anything. Probably better off. So now I opened up PowerShell on my actual Windows computer. Well, Windows sucks. Yeah, I know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to the server. Instead of using the web interface and using that console, I'm going to hop in through PowerShell, and this is how you do it. Just SSH, then the username you created at the IP address. We can see that it says, hey, are you sure you want to add this? Yeah, I'm sure. And then we put it in our password. You also see the IP address of the server up there at the top left. IPv4 address. So now I'm gonna do an apt update again, and upgrade, and it's super redundant. You actually don't have to do this, but I'm definitely into killing ants with sledgehammers. Overdo it to the nth degree. Yeah, there's nothing. It's like stupid. You already upgraded. So now we're gonna install UFW and fail to ban, which are some of our security measures. Again, we're going to put -y at the end to tell it, leave us alone. Don't ask us if we're sure. All right, we're going to type clear, and that's going to clear out our console. Now, I want to see cat lets you basically read a file. So this is like opening up a text file without actually having to open the file. I just wanted to make sure that this file was in that location, and it is. So we're going to change cat to nano. Actually, we can't do it. We're going to change it to sudo nano. That way, we run it as an administrator, and then we can actually edit the file as an administrator. And basically, what I'm doing in here is I'm going through, and I'm looking for, I think, 3 specific things. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assign a random port number that's different. So this one's 3451. It's just a number I came up with. It's like, drawing it out of a hat. But remember this number, write it down, put it somewhere safe for now. We want to remember this. So, okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to deny root login. We're going to take away the ability for root to log in. I just type that by typing this. Again, all this stuff is going to be down in the description. So You don't need to remember it. You don't, if I'm going too fast, don't even worry about it. It's all good. We're going to hit control X, and enter. And control C and enter. We're going to do a clear again. Then we're going to type sudo UFW, allow, and then our port number that I told you to write down. And then we're going to deny everything else. Really simple. And now what we're doing is we're turning on the firewall that we installed and configured. And we're going to restart the fail to ban service. And we do that by typing sudo service to the name of the service and restart. And we're going to go back into our sources. Well, we're going to go into our sources list and we're going to add 2 lines to it. And what this will do is this will allow us to control C or control X and control C, and then control X. And this will allow us to actually download I2P. And now what we're going to do is we're going to download its key. And if I spell right, here we go, P. So you add the P in, and then you see it works, it grabs it. Now we have to add our key, so and now we're going to update, because now we have the ability to install I2P. So we have to do an update in order for it to realize that. And apt-get install I2P, and its keyring. Boom, here we are 10 minutes in, and we have I2P installed, and we have the firewall set up and configured, which is pretty awesome. Now we're going to reconfigure it. Type yes, so it runs at boot. If it turns off, it starts back up when it starts back up. So high bandwidth routers, a lot of torrents, plugins, maintenance its value increased, the memory that can be allocated to I2P. So we're definitely going to up this. We could go back and we could look at our DigitalOcean account and see how much we can up it, but I'm just going to put 400. And with AppArmor, I'm just going to put no for this. Again, probably a lot more configuration that you could do. You could jump into it. I just want to get this thing up and running and have kind of like a I2P seed box. I really don't. I mean, at the end of the day, if this thing, even if it got hacked, I really wouldn't care because I can just delete it and make another one. So it's really irrelevant. But it's not really irrelevant. It's definitely not the right way to put it. So, security is absolutely important. It's just, I'm being lazy right now. So now what we're going to do is we are basically going to use SSH, and we are going to try to get our desktop browser on this computer to connect to the I2P interface on the computer for the server that I just created in New York, okay? Now, my I2P interface on this computer has a dark theme, okay? And by default, I2P's theme is light. So we'll know if I'll know, if I'm connected to either my I2P interface or to the routers. And this one, can you guys guess? Yeah, and you can see I have to update too. So I kill I2P on my machine, on my computer, not on the server, but on my computer. I'm going to kill it on my computer. And this is probably not a problem you guys are going to have facing. I kill it on my computer, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to see now if it's running on the server by just, going back to this web address once my local I2P instance is not running anymore. And for good measure, I'm going to try to exit out. I'm going to try to issue that SSH command again. And then type my password. And then we will see how things are going. And if we can access I2P, the console, and have it be that light theme. Because if it's that light theme, then we know it's the server in New York and not my local computer. Yeah, your fingers crossed. There we are. All right. So you guys can see it says, at the top left, it says Ubuntu. It says up times 8 minutes. This is us. This is our server. That's pretty awesome. So now we're going to come over here. We're going to change our bandwidth settings. I'm going to put 400. Then on this one, I'll put 400. And we're going to share 90%. Okay. And let's save these changes, kind of need to do that. So definitely a requirement. Beautiful. Now you see it up the top left says, it updated everything. That's great. It's good news. So now the next option we're going to be going with is the network at the top, which you saw me just click. We're going to be on this page. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for the port that it specifies. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, there we go. We're going to be looking for the port that it specifies. So 21038. That's mine anyways. Yours might be different. Write that number down and keep it next to you because we're going to be using that in a little bit. You guys are doing great. We're about 90% done, so we're almost there. So now we see, all right, so write these numbers down where you see like the, exploratory tunnels, all that information that's in there. Write all that stuff down because what we're going to do now is we're hopping in here. You can see me changing stuff. We're hopping in here and I'm just maxing everything out, like pedal to the metal, full throttle. Let's beat the crap out of this server, and just max it out. So now I'm gonna click save changes, and you're gonna see a bunch of warnings come up, and be like, see those red warnings? You got very long tunnels, and this, basically it's gonna tell you it's gonna be super resource intensive, but who cares? Because at the end of the day, this isn't our computer, this is our server, and we'll just max that crap out. So now we're going to go back. We're going to allow that port that I said to write down earlier, because that's our I2P port. We have to open that up so the traffic can come in and out of it. I'm going to go back. Remember I said earlier, we're going to go back and we're going to edit our permissions for our I2P user back to what they should be, which is just going to be being able to control the I2P service and being able to do, basic updates. And again, guys, all this stuff is going to be down in the description if you need, all these commands are going to be right there. So I'm going to type exit. And guess what? We just finished. So
6 hours later.
6 hours later, we come back in and, we see looking at 1 hour period, we can see the CPU usage isn't even peaking 30%. There we go. Screen freaks out for a minute. And, we can see the load, the memory, the disk, all that stuff. We see here the bandwidth, so yeah, I mean, she's going pretty good. Let's go back. Let's do a 24-hour period, which, all right, yeah. So there's going to be a cutoff because at the end of the day, we haven't been running it for 24 hours. Been running it for like 6 hours. We're peaking out at like almost 3 megabits per second. That's pretty awesome. It's kicking ass. Looks pretty steady. We'll get a more in-depth view if we hit it for 6 hours. Yeah, nice. Very nice. So that's it for 6 hours. So now let's fast forward and check it out 30 hours later. So here we are. We can see the console. This is actually this is my computer. So you can see it's been running on my computer for 7 hours. Yeah, I still have yet to update. Moved about, 3.5 gigs. Pretty awesome. Now we see it 31 hours. It jumps up to 23 gigs. So you can see there's definitely, even that's my local computer. I don't know why I just showed you that. That's kind of relevant to this one. But so we're going to go back here and we will go to view usage again. And this is our server. And our server now has been running for 30 hours. And for those of you that are seeing the $1.21 up at the top right, don't worry about that. I actually run multiple websites and services on this DigitalOcean account. So that's not the cost in 30 hours. And like you said, it was $5. It's like so you're 2.6. Yeah, 2.6 is what it's at. For our in the last hour is where she's peaked at bandwidth. So that's pretty awesome. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's really really quick setup, really straightforward. And again, the contribution to the I2P network is pretty massive. At the end of the day, we saw the bandwidth. It's not like, 50 megabits per second. It's not some amazing thing that we have going, but the fact that it's disconnected, it's not on our home network, it's not on our computer, it's not eating up our resources that we need to do whatever it is we're doing, that it's somewhere else, and that we can put it anywhere in the world that we want to. I thought it was really worth it to make this video and to, kind of sit down and check out how to go about doing it. So again, all of the steps are in the bottom, and for the first 2 months, it's free. I'm going to put a link too in the bottom for a referral code for my account where, like, if you guys decide to do this and you say, hey man, I'm going to run it. Once you spend $25, it gives me $25, which would be great because it'll save me on, hosting fees if you guys want to do that. If you don't, it's cool. I don't really care either way. But at the end of the day, it's dope to be able to contribute to the project and to, help. It's awesome to be able to contribute to the I2P project, and at the end of the day, none of us have, time or money. A lot of us, I'm not an elite coder. So like, I'm not going to be working on code, helping build the project. So this way is kind of a really passive way that we can do it. And again, once it's set up, you set it up and you walk away, come back when you see an update and just do that apt-get update or apt-get upgrade. And again, walk away for another 6 months. So it's a really great way to be able to contribute without having to learn how to code or do any of that crazy stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.